You leave a 5-minute conversation and need an hour alone to recover. It wasn't a fight. It wasn't anything serious. The other person actually seemed fine when they said goodbye. But something inside you felt different. Your chest feels tighter. Your head is noisier. Something that wasn't yours entered you during that conversation, and it didn't leave when they were gone. And this happens all the time. You answer a quick call from your mother and spend the rest of the afternoon with an upset stomach, without understanding why. You reply to a message from a friend who's feeling unwell and realize 3 hours later that you're carrying a tiredness that wasn't yours when you woke up. You walk through a supermarket queue and absorb the impatience of the couple behind you, as if it were invisible dust clinging to your clothes. Most people don't function like that, but you do. And there's a very specific psychological reason for it. And there's a silent cost that no one ever explained to you that you were paying every day. Before we continue, if you feel this channel is finally putting words to things you've been carrying around for years without being able to name them, subscribe. There's a new video waiting for you here every week, and each one is made to be watched by someone just like you. Here's what the people around you see when they look at you. They see someone calm, someone who listens well, someone who always seems to know the right thing to say at the right time, someone they want to be close to when they've had a tough day. They call you patient, mature, a good friend, a calming presence. And they're right about what they see, but they have no idea what it costs you to be all of that, because what's happening inside you is completely different from what appears on the outside. When someone starts talking to you, your entire system enters a state that no one chose, and that you didn't choose either. You're not just listening to their words. You're absorbing the tone of their voice, the tension in their shoulders, the second of hesitation before the response, the thing they're saying, and the thing they clearly can't say. You're feeling their emotional state as if it were your own. It's not a choice. It's not a conscious effort. It's automatic. And here's what hurts. You know your mother is unwell before she even speaks. You sense when the atmosphere in a room is changing before others realize it. You wake up burdened by problems that aren't yours because you dreamt about people who confided in you the day before. You end conversations with coworkers carrying worries that weren't yours when the day began. And when you try to explain this to someone, people look at you as if you're exaggerating, as if you're too sensitive, as if it's drama. But it's not drama. It's a nervous system that learned, very early on, that sensing others before they feel, it is the safest way to exist in an unpredictable emotional world. You're not wrong for functioning this way. You're recognizing, perhaps for the first time, that everything that has always made you feel strange actually has a name. And to understand where this came from, we need to go back to a place you may not have thought about in a long time. Your childhood, not the romanticized version of it. The real version with the heavy silences, the moods that changed without warning, the adults whose emotions you needed to decipher before asking for anything as simple as a glass of water or a hug. There's a word in psychology for what happened to you. It's called emotional parentification. The term was coined by psychiatrist Salvador Minichin, and it describes what happens to a child who grows up in an environment where the emotional stability of adults is not guaranteed. This child learns, without anyone teaching them, that they need to take care of the emotional climate of the house, that they need to read their mother's mood by the sound of her footsteps, that they need to anticipate their father's state by the way he closes the door, that they need to become a kind of living thermometer, always measuring, always adjusting, always trying to keep the emotional temperature of the environment at a safe level. Researchers Daniel Siegel and Alan Shaw have shown, through decades of studies on child development, that a child's brain adapts to the adults who care for them. This process is called attunement. When the attunement is secure, the child learns that the emotional world is trustworthy. But when they grow up needing to read unpredictable emotions to protect themselves, their brain develops an extraordinary ability to pick up signals that other people don't. And this ability never switches off. You weren't born this way. Something taught your nervous system, even when you were too young to have words, that feeling others before they felt you was the only way to stay safe. You didn't choose to be this way. You became this way because being this way kept you whole in a place where few people cared, whether you were whole or not. And that wasn't your fault. That was intelligence. The most brutal intelligence a child can develop, but intelligence nonetheless. Now, years later, that same mechanism continues to function within you, only in a context where it is no longer necessary for your survival. And that's where the part that perhaps explains a lot of what you felt, but had never heard anyone put into words comes in. Psychology has a name for what happens to you every day. It's called emotional contagion. Researchers Elaine Hatfield and John Cacioppo described this phenomenon as the automatic transfer of emotional states between people, especially in those with a more active mirror neuron system. Mirror neurons are brain cells that fire both when you feel an emotion and when you simply see another person feeling that emotion. That's why you yawn when you see someone yawning. And that's why you feel a tightness in your chest when someone near you is about to cry, even if no one has said a word. In ordinary people, this system works on a basic level. In people like you, it works at high resolution. Your brain doesn't just recognize someone else's emotion, it recreates it within you as if it were your own. When someone next to you is anxious, your heart starts beating faster. When someone is sad, your own chest feels heavy. When someone is angry, you feel a tension in your back that wasn't there 5 minutes before. And here's something that maybe no one has told you yet. This isn't weakness. It's not oversensitivity. It's not exaggeration. It's a neurological system that was trained, even in childhood, to pick up emotional signals with a precision that most people don't even know exists. What seems like fragility is, in fact, one of the most sophisticated forms of emotional intelligence that a human brain can develop. You're not broken. You're calibrated to a frequency that few people can hear. If up to this point you feel this video is too specific to be about you, leave a comment below telling us which part resonated with you the most. And if you've made it this far in the video, give it a like, because that helps other people like you find this video too. People who might be feeling what you're feeling right now, without even knowing it has a name. Now, here's something about you that you may never have realized, that perhaps no one has ever told you. You're the person others instinctively seek out when they're falling apart. And it's not because you offered. It's not because you promised something. It's not because you're the most convenient option. It's because they feel, without being able to explain it, that you'll hold their emotions together without letting them fall to the ground. They can't articulate it, but their nervous system recognizes yours as a safe place. That's why strangers tell you profound stories in bank queues. That's why people you barely know open up to you about things they may never have told anyone else. That's why, in any group, you end up being the person everyone turns to. You possess a unique rarity that the world doesn't quite appreciate. In a world that rewards those who speak loudest, react fastest, and occupy the most space, you are someone who listens with your whole body, who processes before responding, who perceives what lies beneath the words. This kind of presence is rare, and it makes an enormous difference in the lives of the people lucky enough to have you around, even if many of them never manage to acknowledge it aloud. And here's the good part, the right people will notice. Maybe you haven't found them all yet. Maybe you've only found one. Maybe you're still looking, but they exist. And when they arrive, you'll notice the difference, because they'll ask how you are before unloading their day on you. They'll notice when you're quiet and ask what's wrong, instead of assuming everything's fine. They'll care to know if you have space to listen today before they start talking. You won't need to train them. They'll already know, because they feel the world the same way you do. But we also need to talk about the painful part, because pretending it doesn't exist would be dishonest, and you deserve honesty after a lifetime of hearing sanitized versions of what's going on inside you. Here's the irony that hurts the most, and maybe it's the first time someone has put it into words for you. The only thing that would truly help you would be someone who could connect with your emotions the way you connect with the emotions of others. Someone who could sense you before you even had to ask. Someone who could perceive, without you having to explain, that you're tired, that you're carrying too much, that you need a place where you can simply rest without having to be useful. And almost no one can do that for you, because you are fluent in an emotional language that few can speak back. You understand people with a depth they themselves don't understand. And when you need that same level of understanding, you discover it simply doesn't exist in the lives of most people around you. That's why you can be surrounded by people and still feel profoundly alone. That's why, even in relationships that seem good on the outside, there's a part of you that has never truly been seen. And the worst part is that you don't always know anymore where other people's emotions end and yours begin. After a lifetime absorbing what wasn't yours, you get home and spend hours trying to understand if the tiredness you feel is yours, or if it's the leftover tiredness from the last person you spoke to. You feel sad and don't know if the sadness is yours, or if you picked it up somewhere during the day. This is a type of loneliness that few channels name, but it's one of the most real that exists. You are not cold. You are not distant. You are not difficult to love. You are someone who has felt for others for so long that you forgot where your own emotions were kept. This isn't a flaw you need to fix. It's a reality that deserves to be acknowledged by name. So let me finish with the thing I wish someone had told you years ago. You're not feeling too much. You're feeling for both of you, and no one ever taught you where other people's emotions end and yours begin. That's the burden you've carried for so long that it's become a part of you without you even noticing. And you don't need to stop feeling others to feel whole. You just need to allow yourself to start feeling yourself too, with the same attention, the same care, the same depth that you've always offered to everyone else. You deserve to be on your own list of important people. You deserve a place within yourself that is only yours, where the emotions of others cannot enter uninvited. In a world that confuses indifference with mental health, your way of feeling deeply will continue to be misinterpreted by the wrong people, but the right people will learn to notice when you're quiet. They'll learn to ask how you are before unloading their day's emotions. They'll learn to sit near you without dumping anything, just to keep you company. And one day, maybe not today, maybe not soon, you'll discover that you can be close to someone without dissolving into their emotions. Not because you've become cold, but because you finally felt safe enough to exist as a separate person, with your own weight, your own space, your own importance. This is not selfishness. This is not closing oneself off. This is healing. If this video finally put into words something you've been carrying for a long time, leave a comment telling me which part resonated most with you. Give it a like if you felt seen here, not by the algorithm, but by me. And if you want to continue understanding those silent parts of yourself, the next video is appearing on your screen, and it was made for someone exactly like you. See you there.